Well, he stopped by to say hello to us this morning. He's on his way to Bolton, of all places. It's James McAreavey of the Newry Maritime Association. You're most welcome, and thanks for calling by. You're off to sea. You're heading away.
Yes, we're heading away, and Officer McCann is taking...
Paddy, that is. A lifelong seaman.
Yes,
yeah.
And model maker.
He is that now,
Of
indeed.
repute.
He is, very much so. So why are you going to Bolton?
We're going for a civic reception, Rowan, on
Hold on a minute.
Saturday.
I can understand why you would get a civic reception in Newry and Mourne, but pray tell me why you're going to get a civic reception in Bolton.
No, well, it is not. It is not a. It is in memory of our two George Cross holders, Max Blaney and Raymond Kelly. And the mayor, you will recall, the Lord Mayor of Bolton was here from the 7th to 11th of August, and he invited us back for a return visit. And he said that he would host a civic reception for the two George Cross men. Yeah. Wow. So we're going over, and Willie Kelly is travelling with us.
Brother of Raymond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Willie'd be bringing the cross. And I was talking to their sister Rose, Mrs. Rose O'Hare, yesterday.
Yes.
And Rose is delighted with the event happening. Unfortunately, Rose wouldn't be able to travel, but no doubt she'll be with us in spirit. She's married to Pat.
In the Dublin Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rose, we greet you this evening, or this morning. We wish you well, and we hope you're in good cheer. And
oh, she is. She's in fine fettle, and she's looking forward to getting all the details about the trip.
So tell me, why has Bolton taken the interest in our two heroes?
Well, the Lord Mayor, as you know, Martin Donaghy, he is a native of Brestbrook, and he came over for the unveiling of a stone in the pauper's graveyard in honour of his grandmother, who died in 1924 in the workhouse. And the countless thousands, Rowan, of other hapless souls who are interred up there. So while he was here, we gave him the booklet that we did for the George Cross men.
Yes.
And he asked to see the two sites at River Street and Bridge Street.
Yeah, his local awareness would have pulled him in that direction.
And like a whole lot more, he said, I never knew, he said, that we had men of this calibre in Newry. And he said, I can tell you now, if that event had taken place in a city like Bolton with two George Cross medal holders, he said, I am not exaggerating, no less a personage than the Queen would have been expected to attend.
As you speak that, I can see that as being the case. And it makes me come to the conclusion that we have gravely underplayed, the civic authorities in Newry, gravely underplayed the wonderment of what the two men did and achieved.
Well, if you take, Rowan, that I'd say a conservative estimation of the population of these islands would be around 70 million people. The George Cross awardees are members of a very, very exclusive club. There have only been 161 awards of that particular cross since it was instituted by King George VI in September 1940.
And manufactured, as I understand it, from captured cannon metal.
So I believe.
I believe that to be the case as well.
And the cross itself was designed by an artist called Percy Metcalfe. And Percy Metcalfe, one of the lauded commissions that he had was, he designed the coinage for the Republic of Ireland.
Oh, for goodness sake.
In the days of sterling. The animals, the greyhound and the pig, the hare,
yeah, goodness gracious.
the cockerel.
Where do you get this information, Mr. McAreavey? Pray tell.
Well, I'd be saying I am going to meet the master, Mr. Hand, and one needs to be forearmed.
Well, you certainly are that, I can tell you. But as you talk about Bolton,
yes,
you know, it strikes me that you could be beginning, a fledgling linkage between Newry and Bolton.
Well, believe it or not, Rowan, there has been quite a little community, a little enclave, if you like, in the Bolton area. Fellas like Austin Golding, who have lived there all their lives.
Great Newry name.
My own brother, Joe, has resided in the Bolton area and Greater Manchester for the last 48 years, since he left the Abbey Grammar School.
My goodness.
1966, I think he left, and then went to college and was a teacher there and reared his family and that.
What kind? Give us a kind of a word picture of Bolton. What kind of place is it? Cotton mills and
it's an industrial. It was a large industrial town. It has city status now. Like a whole lot more. It would be very like Belfast. Belfast would be a model of the northern mill towns.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the traditional square in the middle, and emanates out from that. But you're 100% right. The mill economy dominated, and the mill chimneys were a feature. And, of course, from the if we look at the sitcom Coronation Street, and the back-to-back terrace. All that features in that area, you know.
Well, as far as Coronation Street is concerned, I very, very happily, contentedly wrap my share of it in a parcel and present it to you, James. You may have it.
Well, at this point in time, 30 million viewers are probably recoiling in horror, you know.
You and I both know. They are at what I said there.
Yes, correct and right.
But the thing, that's Bolton for you, and it's. I'll give you the Bolton I know. I'll give you a name, and you could almost guess the name I'm going to give you before I say another thing. I'll give you a clue. Sport.
The manager of Bolton Wanderers.
No, you're close. Nat Lofthouse.
Yeah.
Was he the manager?
Of course he was.
He was the player when I knew him.
Yeah, and then he became the manager. In fact...
Well, you're a younger man than I am.
Haven't they got a Nat Lofthouse stand?
Yep. See, information personified.
And they were in Burnden Park in the centre of Bolton. It's now a car showroom, and Bolton located out to the moors.
Where did you ever hear the like of it?
You know, they've got a stadium off the M61 now. It was the Reebok. Well, I don't know what it's called now.
He was my hero in the footballing days of Roy of the Rovers. He was the runner, and there was Roy of the Rovers was the footballer, and Tough of the Track. They were in the Beano and the Dano, the Hotspur and things like that as I was growing up and all of that. So if I were
Raymond Kelly made the cover of the Hornet, you know.
Did he?
Yeah.
Because of the event I remember hearing this.
Yeah.
Because of his event of rescue in the Bay of Biscay, jumping in. And that was fantastic.
And there's actually a cover, there was a front cover story depicting Raymond Kelly.
One of the things I recall from my BBC days, I enlisted the help of Sean Hollywood, God rest him.
Yes.
And his New Point folk. And they came down to me in Broadcasting House, and we made a half-hour radio documentary on Raymond Kelly. Now, I do not know where that has gone. It could be because Dan Gilbert was the head of Radio Current Affairs at the time I was doing the Fathom Line. It could be in the Ulster Folk and Transport Museum where a lot of the story stuff went to go. But it was a half-hour documentary.
Wouldn't it be brilliant, Rowan,
if we could find it?
If we could find that.
Hollywood's in it.
Maybe you could make some inquiries.
I'll make some inquiries, and you feel free to make inquiries as well.
Yeah.
If we can get it, it would be wonderful.
Brilliant.
Gone are the days. So listen, that wasn't all you were doing. You had a special remembrance service on the shores of Carlingford Lough at the weekend.
We were very busy, Rowan, this particular weekend. It started off on Saturday up at Slieve Gullion. And there was the Get Outdoors weekend across Northern Ireland. Slieve Gullion was one of the sites. We went up there at the invitation of the Ring of Gullion Partnership and Miss Therese Hamill, who is in charge up there.
She's a great girl, lad. She's a good woman.
Lovely girl.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, Graham Finnegan was there. and ground. It was very, very busy. A lovely sunny day.
Oh, we're blessed.
And Newry and Mourne Council were hosting the event. And there were a lot of people about, a lot of children there. And it was a fantastic afternoon. And then on the Saturday night, we were guests at a charity table quiz in Altnavea House.
Goodness gracious.
John Murdoch very kindly asked us to go out, and we had a team of 6. I'll not tell you how we finished up.
Well, you know, libations may have been taken and enjoyment aplenty.
Yes, well, we leave it at that. And then on Sunday, we had this celebration.
Oh, I know
if
this
you
churchyard. That's out towards Lordship.
That's
isn't
in,
it?
that's in Carlingford.
That's the Holy Trinity.
That's Holy
yeah,
Trinity.
It is indeed. Yeah.
And
Edwin Wrighton Carter. Who was Edwin Wrighton Carter?
he was a young trumpeter in a regiment now consigned to the annals of history, the King Edward Horse Regiment.
Yes.
And this young man was 17 years and 7 months old,
My goodness.
and making his way back to England. And realistically, Rowan, the dice would have been stacked against him
He wasn't on the
because
Connemara, was he?
he was on the Connemara.
Oh, dear, oh dear.
And he was lost. But as I was going to say to you, in all likelihood, he would have been sent to the front in France, and being a trumpeter,
He would have been at the head of them.
He would have been at the head of it
Wiped.
and
Oh,
wiped
yeah.
out.
It was going to happen anyway.
But sadly, the lad was lost in that awful collision on the 3rd of November 1916. And it's a small world, Rowan, because we have a member in the Maritime Association called Hugh Mullen.
Yes.
Hugh Mullen emanates from the Flagstaff Road, and he is a brother of a man called Captain Peter Mullen, who was a staff captain with Cunard and indeed served on the Queen Elizabeth.
My goodness.
Captain Mullen's dead now. Their father was also Captain Peter Mullen, and he worked for a lifetime with the British and Irish Steam Packet Company.
Yes, yes.
So, Hugh Mullen, the member of our group, lives in Surrey, and he was a pharmacist, a chemist in Surrey. He joined our group, and his next door neighbour saw the literature and one thing and another, and he said he would like to join. His name was Ken Dickinson, a retired banker, a man then in his mid-80s. So about a year after he joined, a couple moved in, a young couple moved in beside him, and the girl was from Downpatrick.
Fuck me.
Her name was Trainer, from Downpatrick. And in the course of conversations with this old man, he asked her where she was from. She said Downpatrick, and then her parents came to visit, and he told them the story about his uncle. He had been, this lad was the youngest of 5.
Yeah.
His uncle had been drowned on the Connemara, and he didn't know much more about it, except he was buried in Carlingford. And the trainers, Brian Trainer and his wife in Downpatrick, took on to look for the grave and find it for him, which they did. And they found that the headstone had been broken, and they got in touch with a local man here called Ian Wharton, out beside the Carmelite
I
convent.
know this name, yes.
And Ian Wharton very decently went down to Carlingford. He repaired the headstone voluntarily at no cost. When he heard the story, he said he was proud to reinstate the headstone. And the old man was delighted. So he contacted me and told me this story. And he said, I can't believe how this has come together, he said, from this couple moving in next door.
Gracious, yeah.
And he asked me then, he said, could I ask you to do me a favour? He said, I'm the last of our family. Edwin Carter was
Yeah.
the only boy in a family of 5.
Oh, yeah.
This old man, Ken Dickinson, never married, and he's the last in the line from those 5 children. He's the last.
My
And there are no
goodness.
other relatives. He said, I would like to do something, he said, for Edwin before I die. He said, would there be any chance that you would get a poppy wreath and bring it down to Carlingford, he said, and maybe you could organise a little basic service.
But sure, that's exactly what you did.
And we did
And it
that.
was more than basic. It was very substantial and beautiful.
We did it at 2:30 on Sunday, Rowan.
And a lovely day.
And the Reverend Lorna Dreening,
I see
the
that
newly
lady here.
appointed lady on the Bestbrook, Warrenpoint and Newry Methodist Circuit,
Yes.
came to Carlingford
And did the
and she officiated.
goodness gracious.
And we had
well
John
done.
Henry there from Tullyval and Ban.
Yeah.
John sounded the last
I see
post
him there, yeah.
on the Ravalli. And Paddy McCann, our old
Yeah.
friend Paddy, retired merchant seaman.
Yeah.
Paddy proudly stepped forward and laid the wreath.
My goodness.
So-
what a lovely story.
It was a
Yeah.
lovely day,
Yeah. That's a great story.
and
Great story.
we came home. We had a meal after it and came home. But Sunday was something else. Such a beautiful day,
Oh, I was right for
and
it.
the atmosphere and
Yeah.
John was standing on the hill, overlooking the harbour,
Oh, yeah.
and just to hear the last post,
Oh, quit.
you know,
Were you able to get word of this to the old gentleman in England?
Oh yeah,
And he knew about it.
he knew all about it.
That was happening.
And the only thing is, he doesn't have a computer.
No.
So we're going to send him
Snail
hard
mail.
copies
Yeah.
of everything, photographs, the leaflet of the event,
Yeah. That's
know,
beautiful.
and-
yeah.
the whole lot. So
James McAreavey, you're a good man.
Great day.
You worked hard and you made it happen, and people are grateful to you.
So we're looking forward now to Saturday, Rowan, and the only blip on a good day on Sunday was we came up to Omeath and there was no seascapes.
Seascapes is ashore now,
Yes.
and has to be ashore
And
now.
PR Dolly is watching, Dolores O'Neill.
Hello, Dolores. How are you?
Dolores watches with regularity.
Well, we wish her
and-
well.
And she's now cast upon the rock of unemployment with
Because he's gone.
her PR role has
gone from that.
been put into mothballs till next
Until
May,
the skipper comes back next springtime.
and PR Dolly will be reinvented.
Invent it, and you know what I'm going to tell you? It's like, it's a bit like, you know, it's the swallows coming back.
Yes.
When Mr. O'Neill comes back in the springtime.
That's right,
And gets
Brenton.
the boat out to sea again.
Brenton
the
will be
last of
back.
the red flag, the red star.
The Red Star Ferry.
Yeah. Listen, go well to Bolton. Okay.
Well, Rowan, thank you very
Not
much.
at all.
And
God bless you.
hopefully next week we'll be here to update you
On Bolton.
on Bolton and how we got on, and the memories of Raymond Kelly and Max Blaney will live on.
That's the Bolton connection for you on the programme next week.
Thank you, Rowan.
Thank you, sir.